Hi, everyone. Welcome back to First Principles. Today we've got Arjun with us, and we'd be speaking about marketing automation. How are you doing, Arjun?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Very well, very well. Just woken up. You can see on my hair, so I'm gonna I'm gonna be fresh. Okay. Um, for the context of this episode, Arjun, could you introduce yourself to the audiences?
Yeah. Like my name is Arjun, and I've spent like majority of the last decade in um, success consultancy, event management, and most recently marketing automation. Where I was working at Social 27. So I worked at developing this new product called Hive GPT.
Hmm.
Essentially, it's like an AI tool that helps event marketers with content creation, managing campaigns, creating campaigns. So pretty much taking care of the AI side of the house. When it comes to marketing, essentially just freeing up some space,
Hmm.
some time for more um, strategic initiatives.
Okay. Okay. So let's dive in then. What is marketing automation?
Um, so I guess let's first see what marketing really is.
Sure.
Starting from you know writing messaging, like writing messages basically, to reach your target audience.
Hmm.
That's marketing, right?
Right.
At the end of the day, you have to convert all your efforts into profit.
Yeah.
And when it comes to marketing automation, essentially it's using these platforms and tools like these softwares to essentially just automate
Yeah.
your repetitive daily tasks. Again, just to be able to free up some time.
Hmm.
It could be anything from email campaigning, social media posts, even ad campaigns.
Hmm.
So that's essentially is marketing automation.
Okay. So let's get into the components of it then. First of all, how before AI, before ChatGPT, really, I mean, of course, I don't want to say AI, before LLMs, was there anything as marketing automation, or was it like very low level?
No, I mean marketing automation has been around for a while, honestly. So softwares like Salesforce, Pardot, HubSpot, it has been already like automating a lot of marketing tasks.
Hmm.
But when it comes to AI, I think now AI is taking a more central stage or a central role.
Yeah.
When it comes to analyzing the data.
Hmm.
I mean, at this stage and in this era, I think AI is analyzing data at a really massive scale. Like a normal human being
Hmm.
just cannot do that. You know, analysis of the data at this stage. So, and I think it's all because of the customer needs. Now customers are basically expecting that personalized communication at the end of the day. So AI, yeah, I mean, like it's automation has always been there. Now AI is taking the central stage.
Okay. I do have like a lot of follow-up questions on specifically on the AI and marketing part, but just to, probably set the priors correctly. You said initially AI, before AI, marketing automation was automating a lot of tasks. So what are those tasks in a marketing campaign or marketing planning that needed to be automated?
So I mean, it could be like scheduling your social media posts, like HubSpot.
Hmm.
Um, so and then making sure that these automated transactions or these interactions are happening with chatbots. So yeah, like that's what like essentially HubSpot started with, where you could just schedule your weekly social media posts. So that was the automation part of it.
Right.
Um, and now with AI, it's more about targeting your audience with more personalized approach.
Via socials, via email, via what are the channels?
Well, I mean, social media is definitely just, I would say, one part of it.
Right.
Of this entire marketing mix. Um, I mean, at this stage, like companies are collecting data.
Right.
Uh,
Sorry about that. So you were saying at this stage, companies are collecting a lot of data.
Yeah. So and then that particular data needs to be analyzed. Again,
Right.
at the end of the day, it's more about just being more personalized
Hmm.
in your communication.
Right.
Um, and I think when you're more personalized in your approach when it comes to communication, you have to ensure your customers are feeling valued and understood. Um, Again, like the end goal is to have more trusting relations with your customers, right?
Right.
So I think that's where the AI is coming in the picture.
And then would you say that landing pages that we see, like for any product or service, where they have a large block of text, and then there's a call to action in the end. Now, technically, is that automating marketing or is that automating sales? Because it's kind of taking the position of a sales rep as well. So is there a confluence happening between marketing and sales with new technology?
They're definitely shaking hands at some point. Marketing and sales is, like I would say, like two sides of a coin,
Right.
where again, both the efforts are leading to the final, business goal, which is make the profit,
Right.
uh, and have like a loyal customer towards, towards the end.
Right.
Um, Again, like Hive GPT, I'll just give you an example.
Yeah.
So these AI tools are not only creating content for you, but also doing the more analytical and data-driven decision-making part of the process.
Hmm.
I'll give you an example. After, let's say, a certain interaction, you know, we need an AI tool that is listening the
Yeah.
entire conversation, right?
Yeah.
And picking up the expressions, picking up the behavior. So AI at this stage, it's this is what it's doing. Like it's analyzing all the behaviors at a
Right.
very large scale. We can't even imagine at what scale it's doing it right now. So that's where the AI comes in the picture, where it's analyzing, the data, whatever data comes in, expressions, words, behavior. Um, Again, just to give us the propensity. Like one of the features in Hive GPT was um, scoring all the actions.
Hmm.
Uh, and then this tool essentially gives you like a propensity score,
Right.
which is quite accurate. It kind of tells you how likely is somebody to invest, any time or efforts or even money into your product.
Right. Okay. So I really enjoy the whole origin stories of like the parts of any kind of policy or any kind of technology. So since you were at the inception of Hive GPT, I'm assuming, could you, keeping that example in mind, and of course don't disclose details that you can't disclose, perhaps give us the reason for the inception of the product in itself, and then what was the evolution and like what big impact that you think it's going to make, and especially for sing solopreneurs and people who have just one person companies as opposed to big corporates because they obviously have resources. So what was the need to start this?
I guess we all have to understand the the fact that AI is a wave.
Right. Right.
Number one, right?
Mm.
It's a wave. You got to ride it. I mean, unless you'll drown, right? Like I would say, all the top 100, Nasdaq or multi-million companies, they're all using AI at this stage,
Okay.
right? So if you have to be in that game, you have to, somehow integrate these AI tools into your existing systems. And I would say, don't get overwhelmed.
Right.
Start small,
Mm.
right? Like start with pilot projects. It doesn't have to be like, just integrate the whole AI system into your existing, systems. That might not work, right?
Right.
Because there are still some things that still needs to be dealt with, right? Like ethically using,
Mm.
AI tools, right? Being compliant with, like GDPR regulations,
Right.
how you're using this data. Um, so I think it will take time, but for a new company, definitely use basic tools like pest analysis, SWOT analysis. That kind of tells you how these external
Threats.
factors can impact your strategy.
Yeah.
right? So yeah, I mean, and
Look,
in fact, I would say like if sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, so essentially competitive pressure was the reason to start Hive GPT.
Yeah, well, definitely like competition. Hive GPT, I would say right now is a product that doesn't have any competition in the market.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
it has I would say it has a really few unique features
Hmm.
that actually really differentiates it from the market. Stuff like AI templates, like I talked about pest analysis or SWOT analysis. We have this tool really has this prompt template, like prompt based templates, where like you don't have to be like a prompt engineer. All you need to tell this tool is what you're really looking for, like what's your vision, what is it that you're really trying to get out of this marketing campaign that you're thinking about. It could be from launching a pen in
Hmm.
market,
Hmm.
from you know like a mall or a building that you're building. So,
Okay.
and it could be from anything. But again, you know, people might not know how to use Chat GPT,
Hmm.
right? So what Hive GPT is doing at the end of the day is it's helping you, uh, get the right answer. I always think that using Chat GPT is like um, you have to be a psychologist. Like a psychologist knows how to get the right answer. Like it
Yeah.
could be a possibility that you write a prompt
Hmm.
and I write the prompt, and we might get different results. Like, I mean, in terms of quality.
Right.
Right? So right now we're all like pretty much everybody is using like Chat GPT for stuff like creating emails or, like changing the tone of like, or writing scripts and stuff like that.
Right.
But to get more quality results, I think this is where Hive GPT is pretty cool.
Hmm.
Uh, and when it comes to campaign, I think there are three pillars. Um, Content creation, definitely for all your social media posts, your email campaigns, um, and then your landing pages, and then perhaps like a campaign is basically a series of steps, right?
Right.
It's a series of steps that you're going to do in order to put your product out there in the market, right? So people might want to do some events.
Hmm.
So Hive GPT really has this cool feature where you can create a registration page, and then again, like bring the audience, and then do the analysis towards the end, and see the leads dashboard where you can like see all those propensity. So yeah.
Okay. So I was under the impression that Hive GPT is only going to be really relevant for digital media channels, but you mentioned events. So clearly there is a hybrid approach going on over here. So in the real world, it's actually having real results. Hmm.
For sure, yeah.
Okay. Now, if I were, so I basically want a pitch in a podcast just to understand the benefits better, because the mechanics of how it's going to work, we can get into that, but the benefits I think are more appealing. So if I am a small consultancy, like a single person consultancy, let's say I have 20 years of experience in project management consultancy. If I were to approach you and be like, I need help with marketing because I don't know how to put this information out there. And of course, I'd like a big sort of funnel, and I want leads coming in and I want clients booked. How can you help me? So pitch the tool to a person like me, and then we can talk about like a bigger company as well, because complexities come in over there. So what would you say are the biggest features that I can use, and how can it make my life like easy?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like for a person with small team, definitely needs to invest in expertise if
Hmm.
not available in house. I would say partner with like an AI expert or like an AI consultant, perhaps
Hmm.
that can help integrate some AI tools into your system.
Yeah,
For
yeah.
example, Hive GPT. Um, and at the end of the day, I think definitely understand the importance that
Mm,
it will grow. And like right now we're seeing AI creating content, personalized communication, right? I think it's going to get hyper personalized,
mm,
um, and content creation definitely is one part, but making strategic decisions um, is very important. So Hive GPT, like tools like Hive GPT, actually will help you create some of these strategies at the same time, and not only like create strategy, but um, compare.
executed. Oh,
Yeah, but comparison is important at the same
right.
time. Like understand what your competitors are doing, right? Like I said, SWOT or pest analysis. You could be a company in Middle East, right? And trying to sell a bottle of water, right? Um, People might not invest, in an expensive bottle of water, like, in some part of the world,
Mm.
right? Where, like, if you come to Europe, water is expensive here. So again, trying to find out your right audience. This is where AI is helping again because it's analyzing a lot of data. Um,
So the
so
right
yeah,
market is also being targeted over here. So it makes it easier for somebody to sell to a targeted audience, and this is going to help with the analysis of it.
yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. Let's see. You have a product that you want to put out there in the market, right?
Right.
And you reckon your target audience, well, let's start with the region first. Let's say your
Right.
region is Dubai, right?
Mm,
Now, promotion is something that you'll definitely be doing, right? So promotion is basically paid marketing, right? So
mm, mm,
let's talk about influencers, right?
mm,
Now, you might not know who are these influencers, like let's say perhaps top 10 influencers in Dubai right now that are really talking about the product that you want to put out in the market.
right.
So a few templates here in Hive GPT actually will tell you who are these top 10 um, influencers in that particular industry that you can partner with, what
Mm,
their USPs are, and it will suggest you why you should be using these influencers, like top 10, and
mm,
then um, it creates and then I think it's a series of steps in Hive GPT. So some of these templates are like connected right after another. So for example, if you're looking for an influencer, once you've picked your influencer, time to reach out. So let's create an email. Once that part's squared away, now let's create, let's say, a contract. So again,
okay.
all these things, all these little homework that you need to do to actually ensure the entire thing has been taken care of, where you might not have a lot of expertise. Just uh, dive into Hive GPT, and perhaps if there are other tools like Hive GPT, because you can go to Chat GPT, but then you might not know what the next steps are, like what are the next strategic steps that you should be taking, right?
Right.
So Hive GPT kind of just like creates a workflow for certain tasks.
Mm. Okay. So this is pretty interesting because as you mentioned, the homework, they take away a lot of time and energy, and it probably takes away time and energy from strategic thinking. Now sometimes by doing the mundane tasks you get good ideas, but that's not always the case. So you said it once you have the region identified, it's gonna, if you want to go down the influencer route, it's going to first identify them and then maybe draft emails and draft a contract as well. So that gives us a lot of now those contracts, I'm assuming, will have the local speak and whatever the laws are being there. So all those things will be taken care of. Right. What other things that it can help us identify when it comes to identifying the target of the audience and figuring out what channels to reach them at? Like, will it tell us use this social as opposed to that social?
Absolutely. Like, I think an excellent point, because I guess based on your product and based on your service, sometimes social media definitely, is a great way.
Right.
And I think it's the cheapest, cheapest. I mean, it's essentially for free.
If you don't use
So
ads, then it's not
yeah, I
free.
mean, if you're not using ads,
Yeah.
but I think social media is definitely I guess it's the cheapest way of marketing at this stage.
Right.
Um, cheapest plus I would say quite impactful
Hmm.
at the same time, and has great reach um, at the same time. So um, social media, and I guess like I was saying, like it depends on your product and services, and perhaps even the region. Like I said,
Right.
sometimes more traditional ways of marketing could be beneficial. Like social media is, like I said, it's
Aspect.
one part of the mix, one aspect
Yeah.
of this entire marketing mix. So it could be email campaigns,
Yeah.
ads in newspaper, stuff like that, or
Ads in
even
No, let's double
banners and
click on that. Ads in newspapers and banners. I want to just figure out how. So it for me, it's easy to figure out that the posts are created, the right kind of social media environment is identified. So like Instagram is love and light, and, and LinkedIn is not. So it's something else. And what kind of audience, what with what mood they're sitting there, that part's fine. But when it comes to newspaper ads and when it comes to actual banners, that's again in the physical world of atoms. So where does the transition happen? Will it identify the newspapers for us? Will it give us the copy? Will it help us write emails to the editor and figure out what the right pricing is? Is that also included?
exactly,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, that part's been taken care of as well. So, like I said, like based on your interaction with the chatbot in Hive GPT,
Hmm.
it not only gives you the basic content, but also starts creating some strategies around it.
Hmm.
Like here is how you should start put them in the market, and create like a timeline.
Hmm.
Step number one, reach out to these channels, reach out to some of these people, and perhaps let's say you need some help identifying like who are the players that can help you in that area.
Right.
Yeah, like creating messaging and stuff like that.
Strategic partnerships on YouTube or on like Instagram influencers and all of those things. Okay. Will it help us identify regions as well? Because I could be selling a service in the US. Like very famously, WhatsApp is a US company, a US product rather, but not many people use it here. And but they use it everywhere in the world. So it's one of those weird kind of things. Now, will it help us identify the most, let's say, ready market for the kind of products and services that you're making as well? Okay.
Yeah. So like yeah, I mean, you actually brought a pretty cool point. Like WhatsApp, definitely. We see a lot of WhatsApp marketing happening in India, but like for example, I'm here in Germany right now. I don't see any like WhatsApp marketing whatsoever. And
Yeah.
and people, like you said, people don't use it that much,
Hmm.
right? People here still use the regular text messages. And Yeah, like regular text messages. And like like the other day I just picked up a newspaper. I was in the ICE train. I was traveling to Frankfurt, and uh, I just happened to pick up this newspaper, and literally the first page was about this um, society, like the society flats. This new builder came in, like, and they were like selling flats.
Right, right.
So that's where it kind of just struck that there are products that are still using these traditional old fashioned ways of marketing,
Hmm.
where you're traveling for 4 hours, and then there is perhaps going to be a newspaper, and then we hardly see like things like invest in real estate messages on WhatsApp or any other social media channel,
Right.
right? I think uh, for these type of things, it's still in like newspaper ads, I think.
I think like in India when we were growing up, well, it was much before than we were growing up, but we heard echoes of that. There was the thing about roti kapda makan, right? So basic necessities, your shelter, your food, and your clothes. Now, those kind of things, yes, absolutely advertise them to everyone, spray and pray, flats is fine. But when it comes to a very specific thing like a comforter, which is like has some high tech fabric that was just made, now you want a certain kind of person to see that because they'll be more inclined to at least think about it and then purchase it. Now, how does AI, and you can go into what kind of data is collected and all that if you want, but like how does AI in this context target a very specific niche of the market? Because that has higher ROI effects when it comes to energy invested and money invested. So walk us through what kind of thought is going behind that kind of segmentation in a campaign.
I mean, yeah, I mean, for example, like you're talking about a very particular aspect, like a comforter,
Yeah.
right? So I guess
Or you can choose any example you want. I mean, comforter was one
mostly,
example.
yeah. Well, I mean, let's talk about comforter. Like, I
Right.
mean, mostly I've seen these ads, in stores like IKEA you know, uh, or I guess Home Depot, places like this, right?
Yeah.
So I hardly see any ads anywhere on social media. Even at
I
times,
I I see them.
you do.
Yeah. Oh my God. I just look for a comforter once on Amazon. I want a specific type, and that's it. Instagram knows everything, which I love because sometimes I think, fine, you're giving me good products, man. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, again, like that's the personalization game
Yeah.
that's been going on. You just gotta search it once,
Mm.
not even on Amazon, just go on Google and type, table.
Yeah.
You'll start seeing table ads,
Yeah.
just write, a cap or wallet or a t-shirt, headphones, anything, just and
Yeah.
then you'll start seeing those ads, just everywhere, Instagram, social media.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's creepy. Uh,
Well, now I
you
think
just
it's a genie, you know? So if you think of it as a genie, which is giving you stuff, it's not creepy then.
Yeah, well, like it's sometimes you feel like you just stumbled upon it, and now your entire feed is just filled up with that feed with that particular product.
Yeah.
um but yeah, no, definitely, I guess, you know things like, I don't know if it's happening, but I think with these voice and vision searches, like Alexa, Siri, and then you can use your camera, just to identify what product you're looking at,
Right.
stuff like that. I think the more these technologies are going to get common, I
Hmm.
think AI will play a certain role in analyzing more and more data.
Hmm.
For example, where you are, what you're searching for, what you're talking about. um, I personally think like these phones and our, systems are always listening.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
I personally have seen situations where, I would be in a conversation and talking about, let's say, a product, or, let's say PlayStation.
Right.
Um, and next thing, I pull out my phone, look at Instagram, and there are PlayStation ads coming in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I used to suspect that years ago when smartphones weren't a thing and text messages were being sent. So that part is there. I get the creepy aspect of it. I agree with you. Perhaps if they can be more honest about it, and then I will mostly keep it on. But then if I don't want to keep it on and take out the battery, it's just more honest, right? If somebody
Yeah,
if you like Netflix has tiers now. So if you want to see ads, you have a cheaper rental. But if you don't want to see ads, it has a higher rental. So that I think that takes care of the opt-in issue and the ethics issue. But the interesting part is with listening, because a lot of people listen, right? What are they gathering? What are they profiling? And how, because I do think that the targeted ads are very good. I mean, this is what I want. And I get it from
exactly.
multiple companies, so I can do a price comparison as well. And it's all in my feed. So what I'm really curious about is what are the aspects that goes into processing all of those things? Do they look at how you think? Do they look at where you're from? Because I mean, where you're from, whatever, it doesn't really
Everything,
everything. Okay, what else?
like everything, your behavior, your patterns, like what you look at. Like, so at the end of the day, these AI tools help create patterns. What time you wake up, what time uh, are more likely to look at your phone or
Hmm,
Instagram.
right.
And during the day, let's say what you talk about. I think sometimes it listens to that as well. But
Hmm,
yeah, definitely, like what you're searching is data for them. Um, what you're clicking on, how long you're looking at something. I mean, you don't have to like a post. You
yeah.
like, it knows how long you looked at something, like how long it was on your screen.
Hmm,
So yeah, and at the end of the day, it's analyzing your behavior, and
right.
then again, to be more precise with your communication, to be more precise with the whole personalized approach.
Right, right. But there are some examples where, of course, it goes awry, right? So if I'm let's say looking at a post on Instagram, and then I need to use the toilet. I don't take my phone with me. Typically, people do, but and I just go use the toilet, and they think that I'm spending way too much time on this, and they'll start giving me ads. So then I have to be like, I'm not interested in this. Stop wasting your time and algorithmic energy on sending me that. The other day, I was just for the hell of it looking at different apartments in Houston, right? And I don't plan to move, but I'm now just getting ads about, oh, hey, different this apartment and that apartment. So sometimes it might go all right, right?
You're right. I mean, last couple of months, I'm getting ads about different floor plans. I just searched once about like because I'm planning to get my family over here in Germany.
Hmm.
So I had to ensure that I have a certain amount of space, in order to just make the entire thing happen. So
Yeah.
I was looking at some floor plans, like what's the normal floor size and the architecture of these apartments. And from last few months, every time I look at my Facebook, I see these floor plans, one after another. And like I'm at this stage, I'm like, I'm really done with it. Like it's everywhere now. Like all my social media channels are showing me floor plans.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
In Berlin.
Sometimes I'm like, you're not precise enough. You don't really know why I searched that. So you need to figure that out as well. Okay. One kind of use case that I think is very interesting here is, traditionally when you are marketing something, it's based on regions. And
Right.
before the internet and before fast travel, and again, I think travel can be way more faster. It's a sad thing that it still takes me, 50 years. It has been the case. It still takes me like 8 hours to go from Houston to whatever, Dubai. More than 8 hours, actually, 16 hours. But he leaving that aside, before people have different tastes and people have moved and then they take their cues from somewhere else. Very famously, northeast of India takes a lot of cultural cues from Korea, right? And then there are a lot of those kind of places happening. Now, I'm in the States and generally power cuts are not a big deal, but when hurricanes happen, they kind of shut it off. In India, we most of us have power inverters. That's nobody even knows what that is over here, right? I mean, they know generators and all that, but power inverters is not a thing. So if enough people like me are looking for power inverters in America, perhaps some supplier in India who can supply, and if there are no issues with tariffs and all that, can start targeting me in a very specific location somewhere else. That is one thing I'll be excited about in creation of new markets because you did not know it exists. So what do you think of that? Do you think somebody who's trying to figure out new markets have a blue ocean strategy? It can be used there as well.
Great idea. I think that's exactly where this you know the birth of new technology actually happens. That's where I think definitely it all depends on the need, like
Hmm.
you said. um but at the same time, like the example you gave, I would say, how many times you get hurricanes or power cuts in Houston, like let's say
I'd say over three
average
to four
during the
times
year?
a year. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's my first year over here, so but I've already had one, which was pretty bad, and another one is probably coming tonight.
Well, okay. I'll stay safe and sound. But I would say, like, one of the things I have experienced, with power inverters in India was the fact that it needs to be, you know, used, because these batteries are expensive,
Hmm.
and then inverters are definitely, something which is expensive at the same time.
Hmm.
Um, but let's say you did not use the battery of this inverter for 6 months, and when the actual power cut happens, the battery at that time actually is not working because it's out of power, right?
Right.
Because it needs to be used.
Yeah.
So I guess, yeah, I mean, well, if the technology advances where you can just leave the battery for like half of the year, and when the time comes it can be used,
Yeah.
definitely, why not? Like, I
Yeah.
guess fusion, integration, that's where the whole thing happens. Like
Yeah.
right now, if we look at Europe or America, all the pretty much all the like, I would say, English speaking countries, they're more multicultural,
Mm-hmm.
like from any other part of the world, I guess.
Right. Right.
um, Especially the English speaking countries. So yeah,
Right.
I mean, that's how the ideas are coming to these countries. So That's where the growth is.
That's where the growth is. And I guess the growth is also, I mean, when people talk about growth, it's essentially like wealth, more goods and services. But again, more goods and services is, if I want it, then it is wealth to me. If I don't want it, then it's just a nuisance to me. But this is, I think, creating the want, but maybe not creating the want, identifying the want of like certain people, enough of a niche to make it viable in a business sense. And then perhaps even, so what I'm going to get at it, it's not just marketing, because marketing is when the product is made and you're trying to push it to the market, right? This is also, what product do I make if I am in that business? And I guess it can go that deep, in the sense of figuring out, like when IBM came out with the ThinkPad, it was it was a total 0 to 1 operation. They were not used to personal computers. They only had business machines. So those kind of things I think can be very important. Like, a little power inverter operations for folks who really want it, and there are not many around here. So that kind of thing, it just helps people make more money as well, in the sense of catering to more niches. And that's what I'm really excited about, apart from just getting ads of floor plans on Facebook or Instagram. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I guess, wherever there is a need, there will be, inventions. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know, right? So
Yeah.
it's like that. You don't know what you don't know. So when something comes in the market, that's when you see the real importance of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right now, for example, you identify a certain thing that can automate or ease the situation, of power cuts in America or certain parts of America. So I guess, uh, when you were talking about it, I totally see. Yeah, like Houston, for example, is definitely a good market for, products like inverters,
Hmm.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Okay. So another aspect here, which I think I'm forgetting, we switching gears a little bit. I wanted to know what you use a certain terminology, right? During when we spoke last, hooks and CTA. So what is a hook? And then I know what a CTA is, but like in a very real sense, what is a CTA?
Well, CTAs are like call to action,
Hmm.
right? At the end of the day, you want your marketing to convert into leads, and then leads to convert into like actual sale and profit. So,
Hmm.
like you're looking at a product on social media. I guess sometimes just one click is a CTA, so CTS should be as minimum as one click at the end of the day. Like
Hmm.
you talked about landing pages. Towards the end of the landing page, you have a CTA, right? Like
Right.
for further information, reach out to our sales rep, and most of the times, if it's electronically, you're looking at on a phone or a laptop, you just
Yeah.
click, opens up a calendar, real quick, just with very few clicks, you can book
Appointments,
uh,
or yeah.
an appointment or a demo, or just real quick, to take a demo, or SSO logins. With one click, you're already logged in before you know.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, you've already created your profile. Like you never entered your first name, last name, email, and went through the entire authentication process. Just clicked once, and now you have a profile.
Right.
You see, so I guess that's CTA. And hooks are, these elements, I would say, that that needs to be memorable.
Needs
Very
to be
important.
memorable. Okay.
Needs to be memorable. Should be connected and should align with your core brand messaging,
Hmm.
or with your core brand messages, I would say.
Right.
Um, hooks could be humorous, surprising. It could be emotional. Again, at the end of the day, it needs to be memorable
Right.
and should connect with your message.
Right.
That's
Right.
that's what a hook is.
Okay.
Like I was drinking a coffee just right now in a cafe, and after a couple of sip, there was a message written in the just on the edge of the cup, and it said, "Forget love, um, drown in coffee," something like that. Again, the idea is, um, something you remember,
Mm. Yeah.
and for example, we're like, because you brought up the hook thing. Now
Right.
I remember what I just read, like, half an hour ago. So that's a hook.
Okay, so in that example, because I was just thinking of it in terms of the social media feed, the headline of a particular post or article or a YouTube, whatever. And then within the landing page, the way you're telling the story, the kind of subheadings you use, those are hooks. But this example here, this is a very real world example. This like a serious thought went behind how will a person finish the cup of coffee and if they'd see that or not. That's very interesting. So, wow. So how does ChatGPT help us create those hooks? Sorry, Hive GPT helps us create those hooks.
Well, I mean, you can say Chat GPT as well, because it's the AI that's really doing the job for Hive GPT as well.
Hmm.
Um, but again, like, what Hive GPT really is that middleman for
Hmm.
you, because you might not know how to create a right prompt for the most effective hook in this example.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a vision, okay? You have a sentence, or you have a message. You've crafted your message and it looks perfect. Now you need that one hook. What's a hook? Let's talk about what's a hook, right?
Yeah.
You're fishing. That hook, brings up the fish.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that hook needs to be good.
Okay.
So, it's all about fishing, man. Like, it's something goes out, and it brings back
Your meal.
the profit. Yeah,
Yeah.
it brings meal, right? So, again, yeah. So, when it comes to AI and these content creation tools, it all depends on your prompt,
Hmm.
right? And if you know what your product is, and you have some information about it, these AI tools can create wonders. Like, if it's about hooks, from converting your message to a hook, from converting a hook to a message,
Hmm.
to from or just perhaps creating everything from the scratch. And there are tools that I've seen these days where, let's say, once you have the entire outcome, now you're talking with the outcome. I don't like this, let's change this. you
Right.
know
Right. Right.
Sometimes I use the word, put on your creative hat. So I let the AI do the creative thing. So, yeah, like, I mean, just using these great prompts to get the right like quality results.
Now, in the hook, you said you need if you know yourself, if you know your company, if you know your product. But I would say if you know your target audience as well, because a hook for somebody could be like a disgust factor for some other kind of person, right? So you need to know who, what kind of person you are targeting, so that that hook is appealing to them. How much help does the tools like HiveGPT help with that?
So, yeah, well, I mean, definitely with the creation.
Right.
Again, when we talk about AI, I still believe that it's definitely going to get real big at some point.
Right.
It's going to get definitely real big at some point and take a more center stage. But I think the real challenge, I would say, is the fact that it still needs to have that human element.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, for example, you're reading a message, and you're it's in a different language.
Hmm.
As simple as that, right?
Yeah.
For example, I'm here in Germany. I know English. I was able to read it, but there are so many things that I'm still not able to understand.
Yeah.
So I could be a really good customer for certain products,
Right.
but out here the language is a barrier,
Right. Right. Right.
right?
Right.
So there are challenges, because a human can only understand these aspects. Um, but yeah, like, again, I guess there will be time where whatever you're reading, it, I mean, there are these glasses
Right.
that you can just put on, and uh, it reads into your ear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, can do translations and stuff like that. So
Okay, so I'm here. This is amazing because the thing is, I think with translation is one thing, which is like a clean cut translation, but also a specific kind of localization because the hook in English might not be the same kind of hook in German or in Hindi or in Telugu, right? So the nuances of that language and the way it's used, the cultural context of that language, also a certain, let's say, swear word in Australia and England is very different from that swear word in America, right? And it has a much more harsher tone here versus there because it's more like a tool of banter or whatever. So those kind
yeah,
of things are also going to be important. What else can I? Yes, I think one really important thing which I don't see a lot of like AI catching up with is like genuinely multilingual societies. So Europe, yeah, everybody kind of speaks English, but the nationalities there are very similar to the language that they're there. Now in India, we try to do that with the states, but still everybody speaks at least three languages in some way or the other, in some variation or the other. And of course, there are local dialects and all of those things. So when I open Facebook in India, if I'm not logged in, I see everything in Hindi. So it just assumed that
yeah,
because I'm in Delhi, I'm seeing everything in Hindi. But if I'm in Tamil Nadu, I don't know if it's going to show it to me on Hindi or Tamil Nadu. They're using European standards and imposing it on India. I'm very comfortable with English and interacting, and then that's my first sort of way to translate it into other languages. It hasn't understood that, so I think that's one more thing which is going to be important. It was a very famous. Well, not famous. I think General Motors had a representative in Sweden, and then Sweden is very comfortable with English and they're comfortable with like marketing in English as well as Swedish. But he changed everything to Swedish, which was really off with the messaging because it's not right. So what kind of products are being marketed in what languages? I mean, there's so much more context to get there. So I'm just wondering,
right.
what do you think now? So as we're getting into the last segment of the podcast, what do you think is the future for these kind of tools and what specific things, not specific things, what vistas do you see where this can be used more and more by even smaller and smaller businesses? Of course, big ones will.
I think with future definitely like I said, like businesses should start small,
Hmm.
um, invest in training, um, and like I said, like if you don't have these expertise, then definitely collaborate with experts from
Right,
outside your organization for sure.
right,
Again, the whole thing just needs a really smooth transition. Otherwise, it can get really overwhelming.
right, right, and
Um,
disruptive.
yeah, and like because future, you know, in marketing is going to be definitely way more AI, like way more personalization,
Right,
right?
right,
More precise. The you Everybody is unique. You have a unique behavior. I have a unique behavior. Um, I guess in some way or the other, it's going to get more personalized and more, I think, advanced with the prediction.
Mhm.
Based on different behaviors. Right now, uh, it does predict a few things like we talked about in the some in during some part of our conversation where we were talking about things that you just looked at for a few seconds and now your entire feed is filled up with something that you don't want to look at. So just more accurate with the prediction. um and I think AI already is doing like the content creation part of it. I think it's going to take uh, more creative and more complex tasks
Right.
for sure. Like, you know, um, I don't know if you've already seen. There's a video from a normal person, like just a randomer, who created a Volvo ad
Hmm.
from AI.
No, I haven't seen it. Wow.
So the entire ad was just created by a few prompts. So the entire video creation, happened with few prompts. There was no actual camera, no actual landscapes or the road or at
Or
the actual
actors.
car.
Yeah.
No actors. Nobody was you know there actually. But so yeah, AI is definitely going to take more center stage. I don't know if I mean I was willing to touch a little bit about um, Meta, like the metaverse part of the house.
Sure.
Um, you know, I don't know if you've already like heard about this marketing that's going on in metaverse. I mean, for us, like I guess millennials and perhaps even the Gen Zs are not really um, into this metaverse right now,
Hmm.
but I have like seen a few conversations where people have their avatars and their virtual life is as real as this particular life, you
Right.
know? Can't remember this guy's name. Funny sausage, something like that.
Okay.
It's literally just a sausage, like a sausage that you eat. It's I think it's called funny sausage or something. And this guy is an influencer in metaverse and has I think 5 or 7 million followers on
Wow.
Instagram.
A sausage.
Not a real person. It's just a sausage.
Right.
You see. So I think right now we think that it's already overwhelming,
Hmm.
but the whole wave is real, and it's taking yeah yeah we like if you want to stay in the game, I guess for all like for the businesses, if you already have a business, you should definitely have some of the other AI that can automate some of your repetitive tasks, so you can like again focus on more strategic initiatives. um, and if you don't have it, then definitely start integrating or start learning these new technologies, because yeah, that's the future.
Yeah. Yeah, with overwhelm, I guess one way to tackle overwhelm, the way I do it at least, is to start off with like listening to other sense makers and see how it is and taking some time off, letting the previous information integrate into your mental and physical system. And then,
Yeah,
start again. So like it's always overwhelming. Like people are always overwhelmed by change, but that's what keeps us like prosperous and I don't want to give that up.
keeps us going. Yeah.
Keeps us going. Yeah, pretty much. Okay, so what's next for you professionally? And any parting thoughts?
Well, I mean, I would say I think our whole conversation was pretty much about like how the technology is evolving, particularly with AI. So I guess if there are any more questions, I can definitely be available for more conversations around this topic. If any of your listeners want to reach out to me, feel free to just search my name on LinkedIn. We can definitely kick off a conversation over there. So
Awesome.
yeah, I mean, I think that's the trend in marketing.
Perfect. So I will include your LinkedIn URL and amazing. Thank you for your time and see you soon, everybody.
Pleasure.
All right. 1 second.